two brands of overheads that were presented to us. And after I reviewed everything, I recollected that actually both parties were supposed to provide references, and we did not have those. So I contacted both parties and asked them to provide references. And Jim, what's Jim's last name? Zimmerman. Jim Zimmerman, I have to say, very promptly did provide references, which checked out very well. Unfortunately, Eric with Chris Electric, he went back to his company or the manufacturer and asked for those things. You have to remember, Chris is a contractor first, an electrician. He's not the rep. And so it took quite a bit of time. I asked several times. And then there was an issue when they did send us the file. It was too big or some, I don't know what he was trying to send that, but we couldn't open the attachment. While we were dealing with all of that, one of the other big sticking points was that the manufacturer that Eric recommended had the 10-year warranty, and Jim's manufacturer only had a 5-year warranty. Well, then Jim forwarded me an article on an award that their product had just received, which prompted the company to change their warranty to a 10-year warranty. So at that point, I cried uncle, and we awarded the order to Jim Zimmerman, and I told Eric that we appreciate his time and efforts, and we keep him busy with many other projects, and better luck next time. So I just, for the record, want that to be known, that that's how that was handled.
Well handled. It was a good recommendation on our part to have you do that. So
and I appreciate that very much. It's a nice holiday gift.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are moving on to public safety. Trustee Priest.
Thank you. Just one thing that we've been working on, and what we did is I contacted the Ridge Lake Police Department, and they wanted to know what kind of presentations they would have for our residents on ongoing issues that are happening right now. And we came up with the mayor and Jerry Daly, we came up with identity theft as being the first presentation that we're going to be offering at the Town Hall here on April 16th at 7 o'clock, and that will be presented by the Ridge Lake Police Department. Okay, so it's an identity. April 16th.
Is that
I think it's
a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday. Okay, at 7 p.m. Identity theft presentation presented by Ridge Lake Police Department. Another thing that I did was last March 6th, when Swalwell had their meeting for the life cycle analysis, that I guess was Swalwell's one of their guidelines that they had presented that the group has to adhere to, I guess, or whatever.
It's an IPA guideline.
IPA guideline, okay, that they came up with. And basically I went to the presentation to find out what was going on. There was 3 out of 4 categories that they needed to show, how would you say, that they are compliant, right? And which of course they did show through the analysis that was happening. A lot of the residents there, that what I've noticed were kind of, I guess they didn't read what the meeting was about, and they were kind of discouraged because of the fact that it wasn't a citing meeting. Okay, so in other words, they couldn't air what their complaints would be and make any comments on basically on what they're worried about with this, if this transfer site goes in. And the lawyer for Round Lake Park basically told them that this is the first step, this is the process they have to go through, that as soon as that group applies for their permits, that then a citing hearing would be called, and that would be all published in the newspapers and everything else. And so far, they haven't, I believe they haven't applied for that permit yet, have they? Mayor? No. So we're waiting for that, but Walter Willis, he did say at that time, he said that would be brought out publicly, and everybody should get, within the townships around, should get notice of it. So, and like I said, our next meeting is going to be 2 weeks from now, and I hope everybody can be there, and that's about it.
I just want to make sure on the identity theft that everybody knows, Wally did submit an article announcement that's in the newsletter. So the newsletter that's going out, we'll have that in there, and he's doing a postcard mailing as well. That's another method of communication that we do as postcards. Also, Groot, the recent reports and the PowerPoint presentation that was shown at that meeting is available. If you go to our website, we just have the reports, and you can click and go to the SWELCO website and see the PowerPoint presentation. So if you're interested in that topic, and I forwarded that to all the trustees earlier today, so if you haven't seen that already, please take a look at that. The only other thing I want to comment at this time that I notice a lot of people are confused on, particularly from the Round Lake area, not as much from our town, I don't know why, but of course that impacts a lot more residents on their side than our side, and maybe that's why. But there's confusion about, one of the questions I hear repeatedly asked is what it's going to do to our water aquifers. And whether you're for a garbage site transfer station or not, it seems that our people are confusing this with a dump or a landfill. That is not what this is. So if you want to have concerns about this, that really is not one of them. You know, if you want to talk about that, I'd be much more concerned about countryside landfill. I'm not saying that that's a problem, but that's, if you want to talk about our aquifers, that would not be what you want to look at or be concerned about with this particular issue. So for the record, just want to share that with everyone. Let's see, we have left community relations, and trustee Baranowski is not here, but... Oh no, I'm saving you for last.
Oh, good.
We looked up the next community relations meeting, that was next week.
March 26th at 6:15.
And please, any residents that want to join our two co-chairs or any recommendations, please consider showing up at that meeting. And with that, we'll go back to the Wild Lady, Wetlands and Open Spaces, trustee Duberstein.
Well, as soon as we can see ground that isn't white, we'll try doing things to make the village beautiful. But at this point, we're on hold. One of the things that Greg is working on for us is getting stormwater management and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to finally give us approval to put in a drain pipe in Hainesville Meadow so that we have more control over the water level there, so that when we plant things, we can know that they won't be submerged and that they won't turn into a desert either. With my other hat as chairman of the Great Age Club, the seniors had a very interesting presentation today. It was on the history of Lake County. And it was from way back in the days of the dinosaurs, or the mammoths as they have found fossils thereof, all the way up to today. And it was very interesting. That lecture is available to any organization from the Lake County Forest Preserve. I recommend that you have them come to your group because it was very informative and useful. With another hat, we are hosting another citizens workshop. This will be on Saturday, April 20th. The workshop opens from 9 to 2, but we probably need the workers here from 8 to 3. And the purpose of it is to help potential citizens fill out their application for citizenship. It's a very worthwhile cause. The organization that sponsors it provides some breakfast and lunch for the volunteers. You don't need to speak any foreign language. The people that come to need help in most cases speak English, or there are people who can translate, so we don't have to do that. If you are at all interested in helping with that, that's for Saturday, April 20th. I would love to have you put your name at the village, and that would go for the trustees too. We would love to have some more representation at this very worthwhile event. There may be a training session before then the last time we had one, it was at the Round Lake Library. When and if that occurs, I will get the date for people to know that that's something they should do.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I have a question. Going back to Lake County, now you have a solid suspense. Tell us one thing you learned about the history of Lake County that surprised you.
That you weren't there to observe.
Those mammoths really ate a lot.
No dinosaurs.
Yes, there aren't any there were never any dinosaurs here, because apparently when the glaciers moved away, they scraped away all the dinosaur bones. So they only have found mammoth bones, no dinosaur bones, anywhere in Lake
Does that mean mammoths weigh a lot more than dinosaurs?
Lake County had many different names and was part of McHenry County, and it was called Clark County, and it officially became a county in 1833, wasn't that right? In 1833, just a few years before Hainesville. So, but it was really very interesting. They were talking about the military and about the resorts in the area and the massacre, that's the word. They had a massacre of some gangsters in the Chain of Lakes area at one of the resorts. So it's a very colorful history that we have here, so it's worthwhile to check it out. And also the Discovery Museum has a lot of information. That they have a mammoth head at the Discovery Museum, and they have the largest collection of postcards in the world, or at least in the country.
In the world.
So, and so they use those a lot as part of their presentation. It was very interesting.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to business, we have a town hall meeting Tuesday, April 23rd. So instead of the regular board meeting, it's typically we try to keep a committee of the whole as the second meeting in April. We're looking at that being a town hall meeting instead. And our hopes is to have some displays on hand and giving some formal presentations on upcoming projects. Keep in mind that our budget will be approved by then, and it will be approved at the first April meeting. So we can talk about firm projects that are coming up because the budget has been approved. And then also giving some insight to projects that maybe just aren't going on in Hainesville. But as we all know, we have some pretty major road construction projects that are going on surrounding us. So I'm amazed, though, at how many residents still don't know a lot about it. And of course, the time frames do keep changing a little bit, so we will try to provide the latest and greatest information on all of that and how to stay on top of it. And then some of the items we touched on earlier with the signs, communication, obviously we'll bring up. And we are opening the floor for other suggestions or things you want to tout. Mike Becko, you want to come talk about EMA or show something off, we'll give you a corner and you go to town. All right, don't jump up and down, not everybody all at once. Gary, wait your turn.
Bring up the rear.
So you want us to do displays to have around? Or-
Well, I'm saying we're going to have a few displays. I don't want it overwhelming, but if you have something that you feel is meaningful, that somebody could look and walk away with some information, by all means. We're going to get some of the maps from Greg in Lake County about the construction projects that are going on in the area. I had another thought and I just lost it.
Jump up and down on Avon Township again, ball fields.
Sure, we'll jump up and down on Avon Ball Field. Actually, as you saw in my report, I didn't go into it, Georgiana and I will be attending a long-term planning meeting at the Grays Lake Park District. So maybe we'll have some meat and potatoes to bring back from that we can talk about.